kasha that one asks. We celebrate Leilach Seder, the Nisim, and the Tzniyus Mitzrayim. Say, how to the Rebbeinu Shalom? And the big kasha is, but he put us there in the first place. Unlike all the other brothers, the Churbanis that came about because of our avodas, Golus Mitzrayim was foretold. Avraham Avinu was told, we don't find that there's a particular English because that door, the pasuk spells out that door is seen. How does one understand the whole meaning of Golus Mitzrayim? The Betzim of the pasuk says, "When came Yitzchak with Mishpah." Golus Mitzrayim had one very specific purpose. It was removing Klal Yisrael from the rest of humanity. We were denied freedom. We were denied any form of normal life. Everything that Olam Hazeh has to offer was beaten out of us. The physical and emotional torture was to remove us from the family of nations, to remove us from simple, gashmias life. And then that was replaced with the Rechush Gadol. The Nisim and the flaws that we witnessed all the way to Kriyas Yamsuf, the Rasa Shivcha Layam Shlomo Yecheskel Buzim Yama. And then Ma'aser Har Sinai, where every Yid became a Navi. The entire Klal Yisrael reached the level of Nevuah. We became a different people. Ever since Golus and Gulas Mitzrayim, the place of the Jew, the Geschmack of the Yid, is not in Gashmis. No food, no Gashmis pleasure of any form could compete with the sensation of an Aliyah Ruchnis. Be it a chesed, be it a tefillah, certainly be it the geschmack of Talmud Torah. We're a different breed. We've been elevated. And this is something that has to be lived annually, because we're out of Mitzrayim a long time. And especially since we've been scattered among the nations, we live among all of those who do worship the Gashmias, who do use the word Gishmak for Gashmias. We've got to revive the lesson of Shibud and Gulas Mitzrayim year after year, to recognize that we are the Mamlechas claiming the Berkovits. So let's understand what is Kedusha. The Rambam says it the Farish. Kedusha is you identify with your seichel over your instincts. Identifying with your seichel over your instincts means that your heart, your emotions are with your seichel. You know, Kedusha has very touchy-feely and spooky connotations. But I'd like to use a much more down-to-earth word, maturity. What should be mature? A child If it tastes good, it doesn't make a difference where it's coming from. It can't be thrown in the dirt, so what? It doesn't taste any less good. The context is irrelevant. Sweet to the tongue that does the job. Maturity means you grow up. Your appreciation for be it cleanliness, be it health, or be it self-respect. They take over. Now, what as a child may have been appealing, as an adult is repulsive. Kedusha is growing up, it's being mature. But we don't just measure ourselves against people of our age group and the rest of humanity. It's the Am Chacham L'Novel. It's the intelligent, mature nation, a bigger people. A people that has tasted so much better. This is the Yisod. The areas that stands out most, of course, with regard to Achila, when it comes to food, but there we have plenty of halachas. Kalei Tzniyus does apply there too. That's not what this kiddush is about. Rashi and Kalei Tzniyus, Prushim, Hebrews Prushim in our eyes. The Maral says that the word Kiddush applies to Prishim and Arayas more than anything else. Because that's really what separates between one who is Kodesh and one who isn't. That is the area where one is most torn between his seichel, his maturity, and his instincts. The Yitzchak Arayas, that animalistic instinct within us that drives human beings insane. Where regardless of how high one is reached, when you deal with the world out there, how is it? Just how is it? People that are famous, presidents, famous, wealthy, everything's on the line. Their reputations have caught, they become the laughing stock of the nation. Their entire future is in jeopardy. Not to mention the family. What is it that they found that was so great that it's worth sacrificing absolutely everything they've got? Does it make any sense whatsoever? Does any level-headed human being conclude that this is a wise decision? The Yitzchak Arayis is this insanity that Hashem put into the human body. Give a schar to overcome and use your seichel hayosher. Be able to recognize that what people do is insane. This includes the entire parsha. It's not limited to breaking Yisur in our eyes. Anything that's related to it. This is Kedusha. Being mature, being a Chacham L'Novel. And that's equal to Mamlechus Koyanim B'Beit Kodesh. A bigger people that doesn't allow its instincts to do things that are just ridiculous. To be mashmal themselves and destroy their lives. With regard to the money issues, for a mature human being, for a member of the Am Chacham L'Novel, the beauty of developing a relationship with one's wife. And the instinctive pleasures, the instinctive drive cannot be mentioned in the Shema Achas. How do you compare the two? One builds, developing a relationship which has been tested more than anywhere else. Developing feelings, learning to care, learning to set aside one's own desires and needs for those of someone else that you care for. Learning to understand another human being who's so different. Moral says, man and woman, the toilet is its mess. The whole concept of marriage is mess. Remember in the Bria, man and woman have to be created separately. There have to be a whole other stage. It's one of the Asar Mamaris, according to one day, on the Ema Shem Lekim L'Tov Ve'yos Ha'am Levadai. What he's saying is, the entire animal kingdom had one minder. It included the giraffe and the mouse, and the hippopotamus. Well, one minder created all of them. And each needed one, and each needed another minder. Two different worlds becoming one, learning to understand one another. It's an avoider. The growth process, learning to be patient, learning to be calm. There's nothing like it. Learning to really build a relationship and what a term marriage is supposed to look like. And then, the physical side of it, the meaning of chibur, of expressing an emotional desire to become a unit, to go and express that in the physical sense, as an extension and as an expression of it. Oh, that's wonderful. Compare that to the lowly use of another human being for your own personal desires. There's nothing lower than that. There's nothing more selfish than that. To take another human being and use their very body for your own personal desires. There's nothing lower than that. One is building, becoming greater, and the other is such shiftless. V'tilonim natoyim, Golus Mitzrayim pulled us out of that lonely world where marriage means two human beings viewing one another as pieces of meat, serving themselves. Verses in the Mamleches Kohen Le'Kodesh, two people working on midas, immersing nefesh for one another, thinking of one another, that builds, becoming bigger and greater. The tiny ruchani cannot be mentioned in the Shema Achas, with the so-called tiny that the instincts are satisfied with. One builds and the other destroys. This is really the side of Shema. Chazering that. Tzniyus, although the parashas are other parashas, it includes a lot of this as well.